Welcome back to the channel. My name is Harold, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about how I was able to make $434 trading ES futures. I capitalized on about 9 points of profit for a planned R multiple of 1.21 R, and we were in the trade for about 14 minutes. So it was a very quick trade, but we got it done quick, and that was kind of the intention for the day. So coming into our daily plan here, price was opening inside previous day value areas. Let me change the color here. Right, with the POC traveling upwards, I determined that we were in an uptrend, and I wanted to take trades that followed this uptrend. So either I was looking for a long holding previous day value area low right here, right in this level, take a long back to previous day value area high, or off the open, if we're able to break above this level, then I would look for a retest, take a long, retargeting all-time highs. Now, this second scenario was a lot less likely. If it was to happen, I would have needed to see a lot of strength. But this first scenario was actually very likely, and that's exactly what we got today. It didn't play out exactly how we wanted it to, in a sense where we couldn't really get an entry down here, but we were able to get an entry somewhere in this mid-level and ride our profits to the other side of value. So this is where price opened somewhere in this area, right? So we had this initial down move. We almost touched the previous day value area low. We climbed, we attempted to sell off, and the sellers tried, but buyers re-entered, right? Buyers re-entered, we attempted to sell off again, and we entered at 76.09. It was slightly late. I wanted an entry at around 76.07, but I couldn't get it. And we ended up targeting this 76.18 level, which was just a recent high right here. Because we had this recent high here, instead of targeting the previous day value area high, I had a feeling that we would like to sweep these highs, so that's what I targeted. Now, coming into the order flow, earlier I mentioned that sellers tried to sell off, right? They tried to sell off, they couldn't buy or step back in. They tried to sell off, they couldn't buy or step back in. Tried to sell off again. I noticed a pattern here, and that is why I entered the trade. Right? Normally we look for a trade somewhere in this area, but we missed it, right? This happened pre-market. We don't take trades pre-market, so we missed that. Off the open, we did get a signal, but I recently been liking to just kind of wait off the open. Like I've been getting a lot more burnt playing these opens. So now I'm just like, I'd rather just lay off of it, see if I can get extra confirmation and enter. And obviously this area where I entered at was a little late, right? Like we could only capitalize on about 10 points, but I was okay with that. I was risking about 7 points, and I was looking for about a 10-point gain. As you guys can see, we blew past our target, but that's okay too. That is okay as well. So as you guys already know, right, left side is the 5-minute chart, right side is the 2-minute chart. And if you just look here, right, earlier, if you look here during pre-market, we had increased volume. Our reversal confirmation checklist, we need increased volume, absorption / exhaustion, shift in delta / delta divergence. Decrease in volume is optional after the increase in volume, and re-acceptance of price. So here we get increased volume, right? 7,000 lots. We go from 3,000 to 7,000. And then we get the re-acceptance, right? We also get sellers get absorbed here. This area is not too important, but this was the start, And this was the start of the reversal, right? So we didn't get full confirmation here, and this was also during pre-market, but we did get confirmation, right? And the next form of confirmation, right here, we go from 17,520 to 17,903. Again, it's a very small difference. Here we get a delta divergence, right? We get negative delta, but we get the green candle. So we saw that sellers were more aggressive, but we saw buyers completely absorb those sellers. So increased volume, right? 17,520 to 17,903. Then we get the absorption, and then we also get the delta divergence. We even get a decrease in volume from here to here. We even get reacceptance of the buyers, right? Whatever the sellers sold off, we reaccepted those levels. We reclaimed it, and buyers were able to go higher. This is where I entered. So I entered over here at around 76.09. We entered here, set my stop down here, set my target up here. It was a quick like 1-to-1 trade. But the first confirmation we get here is increase in volume, and we get the shift in delta from negative 9% to positive 6%. Over on the 2-minute chart, right, we get the increased volume, and then we get the eventual shift from negative 17 to positive 9% and the decrease in volume afterwards. We get signs of absorption here as well, right? If you guys look, negative 5.97 delta. Sellers were more aggressive, but we get the green candle showing that buyers absorbed these aggressive sellers. The circle you see here, sellers try to push lower, but we see the aggressive sell volume get absorbed here as well. So I did want my entry to be around here, the 07s, but price kind of took off and we were not able to get it. The biggest lesson that I learned today was, I think, something about pattern recognition, and it's that as I've traded more and more, I've come to realize that we might not get as strong as a move from the bottom, from the lows here, right? Because this is where the change is kind of happening. The sellers are getting absorbed and the buyers are starting to enter. But as we get these pullbacks and the sellers aren't able to completely sell off, and we have buyers re-enter, and then we get another pullback, buyers re-enter, I've realized that these later trending moves tend to be a lot more aggressive. So of course, it was right for me to set my targets here and be realistic with my targets. If you guys watched my videos yesterday, I'm just trying to be a little bit more realistic with my targets and not set targets so far. But gaining more experience, I'm learning that as, one side weakens, the other side tends to become stronger and stronger and stronger. And even if there's not such crazy volume coming from the buyers here, right? Because there's such a lack of sellers and these sellers are getting absorbed and exhausted, the only move is to go up higher, right? That was kind of the biggest lesson I'm taking away from today, is that as the trend gets stronger and stronger, these moves can maybe become more and more extended. So in the future, maybe I can extend my targets based off this type of knowledge. I don't think I would do it anytime soon, but that's just something that I've noticed recently. So yeah, today's going to be a quick video. That's going to be it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave me a like, comment, or subscribe. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.